All right, we're getting ready to go into verse 12 of chapter 23. This is where Paul's life was a threat, and they wanted to kill him. And it was a fight between one religious group called the Pharisees and the other religious group called the Sadducees. Both are Jewish leaders, and they didn't like the truth. And the military or the police department had to come in and remove Paul from that angry mob. And while removing him, God spoke to Paul that night and told him, say, I see what's going on in Jerusalem, but I want to send you as a witness also to Rome. So God didn't say, it's going to be all right, Paul. He said, no, I got to use you because you're rare, because you tell the truth. You only say what I say, and nothing has stopped you so far. And God said, I will continue to use you. So if you want to be used of God, practice telling the truth. Know the word of God. Verse 12, moving down. And when it was day, certain of the Jews band together. Now these are religious people. Band together and bound themselves under a curse, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul. This is the preachers of the Jewish religion. Not all Jews, but these were vicious, violent criminals, gangbangers. But they said they represent the word of God. All right. Verse 13. And there were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy, this plot. And they came to the chief priest with an S and elders and said, we have bound ourselves under a great curse that we will eat nothing until we have slain Paul. They are claiming to be under a curse, knowing that there's no blessing is going to come if you shake hands with a curse. And they went to the pastors and said, we're getting ready to kill this man. Now therefore you with the council signified to the chief captain that he bring him down unto you tomorrow. In other words, we need you to tell a lie. Ask them to bring Paul to you tomorrow, as though you would inquire something more perfectly concerning him, plot against Paul's life, and we, or ever he come near, are ready to kill him. We need you to set him up, use your position. We're going to kill this man. This is still going on today. That's why we have to check our lives and who's leading us and really who we are to see whether or not we got the same curse plots against people who are telling the truth. Verse 16. And when Paul's sister's son, his nephew, heard of their lying in wait, he went and entered into the castle where Paul was and told Paul. He's going in there and tell Paul. So be careful that God has not a child listening to you and he's going to be your rescuer, if I may say. Then Paul called one of the centurions, one of the officers, unto him and said, bring this young man to the chief captain, for he has a certain thing to tell him. So he took Paul's nephew, and brought him to the chief captain and said, Paul the prisoner called me to you and prayed me to bring this young man, or told me to bring this young man to you, who has something to tell you, say unto you. He said, this young man got something to tell you. Then the chief captain took him by the hand. Come on, boy. Come on, son. And went with him aside privately, and asked him, what is it that you want to tell me? And he said, the Jews have agreed to desire you that you would bring down Paul tomorrow to the council, as though they would inquire somewhat of him more perfectly. In other words, we want a better understanding. That little boy telling the truth. But do not yield to them. Don't allow it. Don't fall for it. For there lie in wait for him of them more than 40 men, more than 40, which have bound themselves with an oath. That boy told the truth. He said it just like he heard it, that they would neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now are they ready, looking for a promise from you. You said all they're waiting on is for you to give the okay signal. But the problem is God already told Paul, you're going to Rome. So none of this is going to happen. God already said you're going to Rome. And so all while they plotting in between, Paul, you're going to Rome. So the chief captain then let the young man depart, and charged him, say, see thou, you tell nobody what you showed these things to me. The things that you just said to me, don't tell nobody. And he called unto him 2 centurions, 2 officers, saying, make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 60, 70, 3 scores means 60, count by 20, 3 scores 20, and get 70, and spearmen 200 at the 3rd hour of the night. So I'm telling you what time to get Paul. He sent the military to get this one man, make ready 200 soldiers and 70 horsemen and 200 spearmen, guys that can shoot an arrow, and meet me at the 3rd hour of the night. And sometimes I get confused about the 3rd hour. That might be what, I'll look it up and I'll tell you that. I don't want to say what it is until I check it. It might be around 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock. I know it's nighttime. Okay, we'll check it now and let you know. And provide them beasts that they may set Paul on. Get Paul his own Uber, on a beast, and bring him safe to me. Felix, bring him safe to the Felix, the governor. Go get Paul, I said me, but tell him to bring him safe to the governor named Felix. And he wrote a letter after this manner. He said, what I said with my words, I will also put in my writing. Claudius Lysias unto the most, this is the letter he wrote, excellent Governor Felix sends greeting. So he was the one. He said, bring this to me, the governor. This man was taken of the Jews and should have been killed of them. Then, what happened? Oh, let's get the meat of the word. Then came I with an army and rescued him, having understood that he was a Roman. That's why I got involved. And when I would have known the cause whereof they accused him, I brought him forth to their council. So I told them, let's have a meeting in their own council, whom I perceived to be accused of questions of their law, but to having nothing laid to his charge worthy of death or of bonds. Let me read that again. I perceived to be accused of questions of their law, but to have nothing laid to his charge worthy of death or of bonds. I ain't see no reason why these church folk having a problem with Paul. The man ain't did anything wrong. And when it was told me how that the Jews laid wait for the man, I sent immediately to you and gave a commandment to his accuser also to say before you what they had against him. And he said, see you later, farewell. That's what the letter said, that he was sending to the person that has the power to release Paul. Then the soldiers, as was commanded, then took Paul and brought him by night to Antipatris or Patras. On the next day, on the morrow, they left the horsemen to go with him and returned to the castle. The next day they left the horsemen to go with him and returned to the castle, who, when they came to Caesarea and delivered the epistle to the governor, presented Paul also before him. So they carried out what they had a right to carry out, and they brought Paul to the governor and presented him to Paul to him. And when the governor had read the letter, he asked of what province he was. And when he understood that he was of Cilicia, he said, I will hear you. Where you from, Paul? What province? What area are you from? And he understood that he was from Cilicia. And he said, I will hear you. And said he, when your accusers are come, when you got folk that's got a problem with you, show up to testify against you. Go get your, get everything in order, and I'm going to listen to what's going on. And he commanded him to be kept at Herod's judgment hall. All of this is going, it's going, I can't say exactly, but a lot of like what Jesus went through, which indicates to me that when you have the spirit of truth, then you're going to have the enemy trying to kill you. But God sent the military force seemingly in our day, Air Force, Navy, Army, to go get this one man, because the truth is just that rare and just that valuable. Save that guy, go get him. And these folk went and pulled this guy out of the hand of the toughest people on earth, our religious people, the toughest. It took all these people, well, how many people is that? 470 military men to go get one godly man. That's how strong our religious set is. And if you don't have the word of God, my God, you're in trouble. That you can take one man and cause the government to stop what they're doing to come and get one righteous man out of your hand. You're some powerful and wicked people when you get mad. That's the entire chapter of Acts 23. Why am I reading this? Because we are illiterate concerning the events of the Word of God. And I want to make sure I do everything to show you how easy it is to tell the truth when you read the Word the way it's written.